a very, very warm welcome to Mr. George Sampson. Oh, I've gone the wrong one. Where is he? Oh, hold on. Wait, hold on. I've messed this up big time. There he is. There we go. I messed up the slides there. Sorry, my friend. Thanks for joining us, George. How are you?
Oh, mate, I'm good. Thanks for having me. Don't be alarmed, by the way. Just in a matter of minutes or whenever it is, I've ordered takeaway, so it might get delivered to me at some point.
No worries.
I thought, we're keeping it casual. We're having a chat. I've ordered a Chinese.
Chinese, awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, no doubt. There's a lot of people with takeaways right now, sat there joining us, which is really cool. I did also hear a dog in the background, just in that intro. Is that your dog? Do you have a dog?
I've got two dogs. I've got two little Westies, and one of them, the youngest one, Boo, she's actually 6.5 weeks pregnant, so she's due to litter her puppies next month, and it's chaos. It's chaos.
All right, blimey. Oh, nice. Good.
Yeah.
Cool job. What kind of dog are they?
West Highland Terriers, two little Westies.
Are they? Yeah. They're little, tiny dogs, right?
Tiny little dogs. Furry, but tiny. One's, so Belle is 6.5, and she's the mother of Boo, who's 2.5. Okay. And the little one, Boo, is now pregnant, so I'm going to have grandmother, mother, and puppies mid-March.
Nice.
So it's going to be chaos
cool.
around here.
That is going to be carnage. So just to let everyone who's just joining us now, just to let you know, we are going to do a Q&A with George here tonight. So I've obviously got loads of questions for him anyway. But if any of you have any questions for George, stick it in the comments now, and I'll keep an eye on it, and we'll add them into the chat as we go, and we'll get some of these questions answered. But before we do anything, George, you won the show back in Series 2. I couldn't remember what year that was. What year was that?
2008. So I actually auditioned in 2007 first, and I got through to like the last 100, the round before the semi-finals, where you're all sat in that big room, and it's just this awful day. I got through to that round. I never made it through to the semis, and then 2008 I came back and went all the way. Yeah, man.
And won it. Well, I'm curious to hear what you've been up to since then, because I know you've done loads of interesting stuff, but instead of me just streaming off, oh, you did this, I'd love to hear it from yourself. Love to hear all the proud things that you've done since then. So tell us all about it.
I'll try and keep it short, because there's a lot. It's 13-14 years, a long time, so there's quite a bit of stuff. But so when I immediately,
we're in lockdown. We've got until the end of March, so you'll be fine.
That's true. This is true. So immediately after winning, there was the tour. And they don't tour anymore. They don't. It's quite an old school thing. But we did the arena tours.
Was that? Yeah.
Yeah. They don't know what happened.
I forgot they even did it. Yeah.
Yeah, we used to tour back in the day, and we did the arena tour. And I think the week after I finished the tour, I went back to school. And I went back to school. I was in year 10 of high school, and that was all just kind of crazy. And then I went into the West End. I joined a show called Into the Hoods. I did that for 2 months in the West End before releasing a DVD called Access to All Areas, like a dance music DVD, which sold platinum. We actually got a #1 at Christmas in the music DVD charts. There is a chart for that. Thank you. And then after that, it was just a stream of sort of different TV jobs and acting work. All of a sudden, from doing dance shows every weekend and doing the Butlins tours and the different festivals and things like that, I got an audition for a film. It was a Street Dance the movie, and after that kind of opened this whole world of drama and acting, and I joined Waterloo Road on BBC One as Kyle Stack. I did that for 3 years. I joined the cast of Mount Pleasant on Sky One. It was a great show. I did that for 3 years. All kind of happening at the same time. We did the second Street Dance film. And then after that, I did various episodes of sort of Casualty, The Dumping Ground, loads of different TV. I became one of those guys you see on everything on TV for a short period of time. And then towards the end, I started getting into musicals. And I did a musical called Our House. I did the UK tour of Our House, the Madness musical, various pantos up and down. And then last year, I got onto Everybody's Talking About Jamie, which we were touring until the Rona. So
right, but you're taking that back on. You're carrying that tour on once.
Yeah.
2030, once this is all fine.
2030, yeah. I mean, it's hard because the latest we've kind of heard is you can't really open touring productions until theatres are open at full capacity and until regional theatres are completely open, and so it's kind of hard. We don't know when that's going to be. Obviously, the vaccination's out and stuff, and it's looking promising. But as far as I'm concerned, people want the show, theaters want the show, and so hopefully, yes, we should be coming back. Hopefully this year, but like you say, I don't know. Who knows?
Awesome. But not only have you done all of that stuff in the acting world, but I also have listened to your recent single that you brought out as well. I'm keen for you to tell us about it, how that came about, because those of you who haven't heard it, you've got to go onto Georgia's Facebook or YouTube, or it's on...
it's on Spotify everywhere.
Spotify.
It's everywhere. It's just
check it out, because it is a pretty epic tune. I do like it a lot. Tell us how that came about.
So after I won in 2008, the first thing I did was I moved to London, and I needed something to pass the time, something to fill the time when I wasn't performing. And I've always sort of been stagey in stage school, and I loved singing and stuff like that. But I've always been sort of technical as well. I've always been a bit of a nerd and loved computers and stuff. And I thought I needed a way to balance both of them. And at the time, gaming probably wasn't as advanced as it is now with the streaming and stuff like that. So I got into music production. And I went out, I bought this home studio setup that I bought. And my best friend, one of my best friends, Richard, is a full-time music producer. And we just started making music together, and we still do today. And we just hang out. And as the years went by, we noticed the stuff started to sound pretty good. And if I'm being completely honest, I think I'm better at writing music and putting music together with my friend Rich. And at the moment I'm rapping on them and stuff like that. But eventually I'd like to just write music and record music for other people. But I'm having fun with it. So it's just a hobby. It's literally just a hobby. I don't plan to ever, be a musician or make money from it. But especially now with lockdown, it's just got so much time where I'm sat here, right here, and I'm just trying to do something creative. And I just always turn to music.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned about the, it's interesting because I've seen your live streams of you doing some pretty awesome stuff. You play Call of Duty, right?
Call of Duty, Fortnite, everything. Like I stream a lot, and to be honest, I game. I love gaming. Me and the boys, we game. It's lockdown, we can't hang out, so we're gaming. And again, it was that idea of if I'm gonna do it, I may as well stream it, because it's sort of best of both worlds. As the performance in me meets the entertaining people and the gaming and stuff. And again, that's just a hobby. It got quite serious at one point. It became full time, and I became quite a proper streamer, and it was all a bit much. So now I just do it for fun when it suits me. I'm really inconsistent. I'm really bad, but I love it.
Something I realised though, those of you who haven't seen it, check out his like the streams of him playing Call of Duty, because during lockdown, in the first lockdown, I ordered a PS4. And I got Call of Duty because I knew we'd be stuck indoors, and all my shows were cancelled. So I thought I need something to keep me busy, and so I started playing that. I'm not very good at it yet, but in my head, I think I could not stream myself playing Call of Duty, because it is the most stressed you will ever see me. And I'm quite a calm person, but when I play Call of Duty, and there's no doubt 8-year-olds all around the world that just keep killing me, and I'm terrible, so bad at it, I get really wound up, and I do occasionally end up swearing, and I get really frustrated about it. I couldn't stream myself, but I watched some of yours, and you are so calm as you're running around just annihilating the enemy. And
I think it's part of it though.
Casually.
Well, I think part of it is you sort of that annoying part of it dying to kids all over the world, and it is undeniably frustrating. It becomes part of the content that the people watching enjoy. So you sort of calm it off, because the worse you are, or the more stressed you get, actually creates better content for people watching. People love rages. People love it. People love it when I rage. Yeah. They absolutely. There's nothing better on stream than when I start going mad at some kid across the world. They love it. So that sort of takes the actual frustration edge off it, and from then, and the more you do it, the more calming it becomes. And yeah, I just, I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to game. I'm going to sit and game, and this has become my little man cave now. So people may as well see me in my man cave, because that's, like you say, it's the least we can do during what are difficult times.
Are you on PS4? Or are you on?
Oh no, I'm on PC. I'm a computer gamer. Yeah, I was on PlayStation, and then I moved over to PC when I started getting serious about it, because there's a big difference, a huge difference.
Yeah, someone told me there's a lot of advantages by playing on a PC.
Lots of it. Yeah, I still play controller. I'm still a controller player, but I play controller through the PC.
All right, fair enough. Right, what we're going to do, George, just because I've already seen so many questions on here, I want everyone to be as involved as possible. So I'm going to bring some questions up. and we'll just see how we get on. So the lovely Victoria has asked, do you prefer dancing or acting?
There's nothing better to me than dancing. I love dancing. There's no better feeling than performing dance. And I guess it's similar to magic. You've got a live audience, you're performing your thing, it's physical, people are involved. That feeling is incredible. But acting, I think maybe it's the world we live in, or maybe it's just because of the work I've done. There are more rewards to being a good actor. There are more availabilities as a worker, as an actor. And I generally find that if I want to work in dance and I want to do live shows, I have to do the acting. I have to be on TV, because if I'm not on TV, people don't want to see you in theaters. So I can't do one without the other. But ultimately, I prefer being on stage and dancing, but I know how important the acting is to get that. Unless you're on a reality TV show every week, which isn't my kind of vibe. So I love them both, but I prefer dancing. Yeah.
I'm in exactly the same position is in whenever I do TV, the kind of TV that I do, I very rarely make any money out of, but it's not really a living being on TV necessarily, but you hope that by people seeing you, they then buy a ticket to the theatre shows.
Exactly.
And
that's
that
where
kind
the
of
money
stuff.
is.
So it's crucial to have a bit of TV time.
Exactly.
Right, I'm going to move on to that was a good question. I like that. We've got the lovely Richard Allen, who was actually on BGT the same year I was on. We're going to add his question on. It said, who would be your dream celeb to dance with, living or dead? It would be a bit awkward if you were dancing with a dead person, but you can choose a dead person if you want.
You know what? For the conversation, obviously, I mean, look, it's hard to have this question without saying the obvious, Michael Jackson, because you're talking about the king of dance. But then that being said, there are plenty of people I'd love to dance with. I've always been a solo dancer, so it's hard for me. I'm like, because I don't know if I'd clash with somebody. I'd like to think I wouldn't. I'd like to think I'd get on with everybody. But if I'd say no, I'd probably say Michael Jackson, just because of what I'd get from it as a person, and that's something you can take to the grave and say, I did that while I was alive. And I think dancing with Michael Jackson is probably at the top.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's not going to happen. but yeah, if he said living or dead, so I'd say Michael Jackson.
All right, nice one. Nice, that's a good answer. Archie is a young magician, so we're going to ask him his question next, and it is: do you have a favorite dance move?
I have party tricks, and I'm sure it's the same with magic. You have certain go-to tricks that, if it just happened to you needed to throw something out, you have your party tricks. And so I have moves that I would consider party tricks that are up there. I'd consider my favorites. And things like backflips and stuff that physically aren't that hard to do when you've trained forever to do it. But people are like, that must be hard to do. That's impressive. But it's not to you. So those kind of things are all my favorite kind of thing. My favorite, though, would be the move I use to finish Singing in the Rain, which is the suicide, which is a front flip, but you land flat on your back. Just because it's the move that people associate with me finishing Singing in the Rain, and it's sort of helped pave the way for what I do.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I love the fact that your champions performance.
Yes.
I love the fact that you linked it so well to the routine that everyone remembers that you did in the final, where I'm sure everyone watching will remember the rain coming down and you did that dance. And there's something nice about seeing the footage of when you were younger doing that same kind of thing, and then now you're grown up. It was a great touch. It was such a good routine.
Champions was fun, man. It was fun.
Wembley Arena was like, I don't know if you saw mine. I was literally, it was the love in the room when I walked out there. It was just so many lovely people, and the respect that they showed me was so nice that it was really emotional. It was to be in Wembley Arena. It was in itself was quite magical. I did enjoy it.
I'll say it. We both absolutely should have gone through to the final. I'll say it. I'll say it right now. We should have.
I was a little bit gutted at the time, but you know what? Looking back on it, I'm pleased I got to be on it at all, because
same.
Wembley Arena is not something you do every day, so that was pretty epic. So I'm going to give a shout out to this person here, because Samantha's son George is 16 and is really into streaming, and he's been doing it over lockdown. So no doubt the person who keeps killing me is probably young George there. So I'm not going to give you a shout out actually in that fact, just in case you've been ruining my Call of Duty skills.
He's got to keep it going. He's got to be persistent with streaming. It's hard to get into and it takes time, but just keep going, George. Keep going. Keep streaming,
I think the message that George Sampson is trying to give us all is forget schoolwork. Focus on your gaming skills. That is where that's where the fun is. That is where the fun is. All right. So I did see a good question actually somewhere. I can't find it now to bring it up, but someone said, were you more nervous the first time you auditioned for BGT Series 1 or when you came back in Series 2, the year that you won it? When were you more nervous?
Season 2, man. Season 2. I think it was a weird time. Season 1, when I first auditioned 2007, I didn't actually know I was auditioning for Britain's Got Talent. I was out busking on the streets of Manchester and somebody approached me and said, there's an audition down the road. You should go now and get involved. It's a talent show. And obviously it was the first season of Britain's Got Talent, so nobody really knew about it. And it wasn't until I turned up in the room that I saw the flags, and I was like, it's Britain's Got Talent. So I wasn't really prepared. But with that in mind, I wasn't really nervous either. Whereas the second time, because I'd already been turned down, I was more nervous to come back because I'd already been prejudged. So there was an expectation the second time round to be better than the first. I know the first time wasn't good enough. So I think I was probably more nervous the second time because I already had a bar set that I knew I had to beat. And with dance and with anything that's so physical, you know, I could have fell. It could have one fall, could have changed it, you know?
Yeah.
So I think I was probably more nervous the second time, but ultimately nerves are a good thing. And it's how you use nerves to transcend into adrenaline and use that adrenaline to perform better. And I think that's what kind of got me through those nerves.
Yeah. I always think nerves they're the same as, like, I try to change it before I go on stage. Everyone feels nervous. I try to change it into like a feeling of excitement and try and psychologically change the way we see it, because not a lot of people realize it doesn't matter how good you are or how many shows you've done, you'll always feel the nerves before you go out into any stage.
Absolutely, and it's a placebo effect. If you tell yourself you can use them, you can use them. It's absolutely it's all in your head. It's all in your head.
Absolutely. So Jade here has asked an interesting question, something I was hoping to bring up tonight.
Yes.
So you're going to be a judge on a new Amazon Prime TV show. We saw that announced. When did you announce it? Last week?
Yeah, so I only put it on my story. I haven't done a proper announcement yet, but there's a show on Prime. That's entertainment. It's a huge talent show across the country, and there are specialist judges in different categories: dance, singing, magic. There are a few. I think there are about 5, and I am the expert dance judge, which is something I've never called myself ever. I've never really judged anything. This is like the first sort of big thing I'm going to be judging. It's going to be interesting, really interesting.
Are you going to be a brutal judge, do you reckon?
I'll be honest. I think I'm going to be honest. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Although it's easier said than. I think it's easier to say that, and it all depends, because I, growing up, wasn't the most technically gifted dancer. I was a raw, passionate dancer, and I had a lot of energy and a lot of charisma and a lot of style, but I wasn't my technical ability wasn't as good as others. But their performing ability wasn't as good as mine. So it's hard for me to judge somebody on technical ability. I can, because of the years of experience since then, but you know, I'm a sucker for somebody that loves what they do. So for me, whilst I want to be honest and I want to judge technically, I also just think raw passion is probably a hot tip for anybody dancing.
That is a great tip, especially to be passing on to Jade, because I did see a message from Jade earlier, and I think it's her son is a dancer, and he's auditioning. I think he's already through the first round of this. Now That's Entertainment. So no doubt we'll be meeting a Jade's son at some point.
So I'll be seeing his footage and judging him. Excellent. Good. Good.
Yeah. So you got to be. I don't know whether we bringing that up now makes him more under pressure now. I'm not sure.
Well, he's there now. So he's in there. He's in the locker now. So I'll remember him when I see him. That's awesome. That's awesome. And obviously we encourage anybody that wants to audition, because it's so much fun, and you never know. Like, we've both been through this process. You just never know how far you can go, and
Yeah.
who knows?
I always tell people you should never aim to win anything like that,
No,
because it's technically not in your control at all.
no,
But
no, it's
what
not.
you are in control of is how well you do yourself.
You
If you
can,
go out there and
yeah,
you
of
do your
course.
best, that's as much as you can do. Whether people vote is
It's
completely
absolutely.
out of our hands, unless you kidnap the main judge and you got some
If I
dirt
go
on
missing
them. I
now.
don't know. Awesome. So right, let's bring up a few more questions, because there's loads of questions coming in now. I don't know which one. Right, let's just bring up.
And feel free to go wild, guys. Like, if you have an obscure question and you think that's ridiculous, just ask it.
The more obscure, the better, I reckon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's get some weird questions for George here. Some strange ones would be great. Richard Allen says, I remember your dance. It was awesome. Awesome. Ace moves. Richard is also a cool dancer and a singer. So here we go. All right, I've got a good one here. So the lovely Emma Blair has asked, what piece of advice would you give your teenage self? Apart from, don't worry about schoolwork, just focus on gaming. Apart from that, we've moved on.
That's a good question. It's hard because I've only experienced being a teenager with being in the limelight. I haven't been a teenager outside of winning the show, and from the first seasons. I was 13. That was my first year of being a teenager, and then it all sort of kicked on from then. If I could go back and do it all again as a teenager, there were so many times that I was told to go in certain directions and do this and do that, and I never really utilized what I wanted. So I think the one piece of advice I'd do is, don't trust everybody. Just, if you've got a gut feeling and go with it. And because what I didn't realize was, when I won the show, coming out of it, I paved that way myself. And obviously you owe a lot of thanks to the show. You owe a lot of people, thanks to a lot of people that put you there. But it's your talent and it's your likability that gets you the ultimate prize in the end. And I think it's easy to forget about that afterwards, when people are like, right, this is what you do now, this is who you are now, you wear these kind of clothes, you go to these kind of events, you do this kind of. I wish I could just go back and say, actually breathe, relax, and ask yourself, do you want to do that? And try it all again, doing the things that I would have wanted to do. But then I was 13, 14, it's hard. I don't know. I didn't know what I wanted to do. It's easy looking back now at 27 and saying, oh, I should have done this and I should have done that. But ultimately, there are certain things I would have done not differently, but I would have been more composed in deciding. But I don't know. I was young, so.
I really love that answer, and I've not really thought of it in that way. But when you assume and you see that, obviously we're in the Instagram era, where I find that anyone who's been on TV or is on some sort of reality show or TV show, there's kind of like an expectancy that then they'll be doing really cool stuff and like going out to really flash parties, wearing a really expensive Rolex and a Ferrari, and just being really cool all the time. And I think that's a big downfall. And obviously a lot of people have struggled with mental health in recent years. It's been kind of like exposed a lot more in the media. And I think that's a lot because of the pressure and the expectation that people put on the people in the spotlight is just massive. Absolutely. I think I was quite lucky. I think because I had stayed in the army, that kind of kept me at a normal level. I never necessarily, although I did kind of, when you're on a show like that, your mind expands and you think, wow, what else am I going to do? This is cool. When I was got in the routine of doing fancy things, but like you say, it's not necessarily what you would choose to be doing. It's just kind of gets in the routine of what you feel like you should be doing.
Nowadays, if I get invited to like a party, or if I get invited to something that's pressy and nice, I never do it. It's not for me anymore. I'm like, you know what? My girlfriend would love that. She would love to get dressed up and go to that. So I get enjoyment out of all that still, but for her, or for if it's not her, it's somebody else. But I'm not that kind of person. And when I won the show, Instagram was for pictures. It wasn't a social media network at all. It was photography. And I mean like real photography. That's what Instagram was. Twitter didn't exist when I won the show. So all these things are things that when I was at my peak and at my prime, I never got into because they weren't around. So I'm not this sort of stylized Instagram influencer, and I never will be. That's not who I am at all. I live in this. I live in a spare bedroom at my auntie's house. That's where I am. That's where I live. I sold my house because I was going on tour. It's like, I don't need a house. I'm going on tour. I want to downsize and go somewhere a bit cooler. And then obviously the corona happened and I needed somewhere to go. And my auntie was like, I've got a spare bedroom. I was like, that'll do me. That's fine. And I've been here ever since. So and I don't portray that I live in a big house and I do flashy things. And that will never change. That will never change.
But I think it's good that you're like an honest, like what you show is an honest representation of yourself and what you're doing, which I think is missing massively in the spotlight. Yeah,
absolutely. I think it's important, and it's also not fair. It's not fair for people like us to portray an image like that, because in case somebody, if there is somebody that off the back of seeing that kind of stuff goes on to be successful and actually wakes up in a world where they go, oh no, it's not all glam and glitz. Actually, there are still real adult problems. I can still wake up on the wrong side of the bed. Well, I can't because I've only got one side of the bed because of the wall. But you know what I mean? That you can we're all human. Nobody's better than anybody, and nobody's got one thing that another person hasn't got. And money doesn't change people. Money doesn't make you a better person. It doesn't make you a worse person. It just changes your circumstance, and that's all you can live off is circumstance and where you're at in your life right now. And that's all I try to do. Just, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm doing. Just going to make the most out of it and enjoy it.
I think an added thing on that, I think this pandemic has added and made it more obvious, kind of that we don't necessarily need to be spending a lot of money and doing lots of fancy things. I kind of like although obviously I don't like being in a pandemic. Obviously this is a tough time for all of us, but there are little things that are there to be learnt from this. And I think one of the biggest things that I've realised is that I don't necessarily need to spend as much money as I spend on little things. And obviously we all probably realise that the things that we enjoy aren't objects that we can buy. The things that we all miss are like going to family events and on a sunny day getting all the family out for a barbecue and that kind of stuff. That's what I miss.
It all comes down to time. The one thing we've all got is time. Whether it's this much or this much, we've all got time. And I think what lockdown has done is it made us realize is how much time we've actually got. And we would normally utilize that time with people or going, like you say, outings and doing things, going and doing stuff. And now suddenly that we're here and it's like, oh, I've got all this time. And it's about how you use that time. We are in a lockdown, but, like I said, the one thing we're all limited on is time. So you've got to use it.
Out of curiosity, have you learnt any new skills during the lockdown?
Yeah, video editing. I actually started getting into. I downloaded Adobe Premiere and started video editing and stuff. And like, I've uploaded a couple of clips to YouTube and this, that, and the other. But I've wanted to sort of manifest everything I want online because I'm trying to keep up with like this modern day, like you say, this Instagram era and this YouTube era and the making money online, because my money doesn't come from online at all. Like all my money comes from live shows and it comes from performing and doing TV bits and bobs. So I'm trying to get used to this online era. So I want to do that, but I want to manufacture it all myself. I don't want to pay an editor. I don't want to pay a graphic designer. So when I did the single, the song was all produced, written by me and my friend Richard on our own computers in our rooms. The imagery, the artwork was all made on on these computers over Discord. We screen shared over Discord and did it all ourselves. They just trying to do stuff that I know is good and creative, and I'm just along the way going, right, how do I do that? I don't know. Let's have a look. Somebody on YouTube's going to tell me how to start, and then I just get into it. And so new skills, video editing. I've also done a bit of DIY. I've sort of transformed this room into like a gaming streaming room and built all my desk and loads of stuff going on like that. So I've kept myself busy.
It sounds like we've had a pretty much identical lockdown. I've been doing exactly the same thing. I started to try and do interesting YouTube videos, and the only difference is I got Final Cut Pro instead of Adobe.
Just as good. I used to Final Cut was what I used before Adobe, but now I'm paying for Adobe. I may as well try and get the most out of it because
Yeah.
It's tough. It's rough. It's rough, man.
It is
It's
tough,
rough.
but I
It's
thank
tough.
God for YouTube though. Like YouTube,
Oh,
every day I'm on YouTube trying to learn
yeah.
something new about Final Cut Pro or whatever. Yeah, it's a
There's
lifesaver,
nothing you
really.
cannot find on there. Nothing you cannot find on YouTube. If you can think it, you can find it on YouTube.
Absolutely. And with that in mind, we've got quite a serious question just come up. This
Yep.
is quite a serious one. I'm not sure if you're not happy answering this. Just
I'll
obviously
answer it. Don't worry.
don't answer. But the lovely Sandra has asked, what colour socks are you wearing?
Right.
And
I've
so
got
anyone who's
black
got a foot
socks on.
fetish out there, here he comes. There he is.
I've got
Black
some
socks.
black Adidas socks on. I just shoved them
Adidas
on
as
before.
well.
Yeah, I
Ah,
just shoved
that
them
is-
on before.
I'm a Primark socks kind of guy.
Yeah, my socks are in the cupboard
Adidas
behind
is
this
luxury.
thing here. Oh well, I dug them out especially for you, mate.
Awesome. So, Sandra, there you go. Anyone else out there with a foot fetish? In fact, funny
There you
story.
go.
When I came off of the show, there was for a long time, every week I would get a load of emails from a guy. I can't remember what he called himself, but his handle on Instagram was something to do with feet, and he offered me something ridiculous like 20 grand for the pair of socks that I wore on the show when I won.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, if I wasn't terrified of how the media could spin that, I probably would have sold them.
Hey, 20 grand, bro.
Classics.
20
I'm
20
gutted
grand
now.
is 20
I could have done with
grand.
that 20 grand right now in this pandemic. That
People are crazy, mate. People are crazy. I've had the same thing, and people offer me money and for the shoes that I wore that I danced in on the show. And I always think, mate, I don't know. It's weird. I was 14, mate. I don't even have them shoes. I have the outfit somewhere with I kept the outfit that I wore, but the shoes I think I got rid of. I think they went to charity 10 years ago or something. But yeah, people are crazy. People are crazy.
I've still got a suit I did my first audition in. I've not worn it since then, but it wouldn't even fit now, no doubt. But Tim says knowledge is power. You can't go wrong with upskilling yourselves. That is absolutely
well,
right.
Everything knowledge is power. You know, everything that you're seeing people do that people are amazing at, they've learned it, and so you as a human also have the capacity to learn how to do it. So why not?
Absolutely. So a challenge that I was hoping at some point I could try and take on, I haven't announced it yet because I'm not sure if it's even possible, is to learn how to do something crazy like a backflip or some sort of... Is that something you could do at home in the garden with a mattress just in case kind of thing? Or is that something you should risk doing yourself?
It's hard because I was one of those kids that learned to do it by just grabbing your nuts and going, I'm going to do it, and just doing it. You know, obviously, to people watching, I would recommend go and learn properly at gymnastics centers and stuff. But realistically, 90% of a backflip is having the nerve to do it.
Yeah,
10%
I've seen
is
some
technique and
horrendous
skill.
bottles where people have gone for it and then bottled it halfway through and landed on their head. That's what terrifies me. That's why I haven't announced this challenge.
I've done that. Yeah, I've done that. I've done that many times and even times where I know I can do it, but I'm just shattered and I've gone for it and I've not had the energy to get over and I've landed on my head. But you know what? You fall off the horse, you get back up, you get back on the horse, and you go again.
That's a good point. All right, so George, every week I get someone else on to chat to. Last week we had John Courtney on, who won in 2020.
Yeah.
And the most fascinating thing about that, it was a great chat, a really great chat, but there was something that was extra fascinating about that chat, and that is the fact that he brought up a drink called Bovril, which apparently is like a beef drink
it's great.
that
I've
never heard of.
Yeah.
So, so you do know what it is. All right, no, I've not heard of it. We're going to do a Bovril challenge next week where I'm going to take on that challenge of drinking it, which apparently isn't even a challenge because apparently it's nice.
That's not a challenge. It's amazing, mate. It's amazing.
The Loella here has asked, what do you prefer? Would it be Marmite or Bovril?
Oh, Bovril, absolutely. I've never been a fan of Marmite. I hate it. Like, it's love or hate, isn't it? I generally... do you know what? My girlfriend will kill me because I haven't given it enough time, Marmite. And I feel like as a kid, you'd have tried something, you know, Marmite, Sprouts, and you'd have written it off straight away. Nope, that's not for me. Done. But then actually, as I've gotten older, I think like my taste palette is diversified itself massively. So I haven't actually tried Marmite in a long time. So I will give it another go. But right now, because Bovril is so good, Bovril all day, every day, twice on a Sunday.
All right, that sounds gross. I'm pleased one person agrees with me. Lucy there doesn't like the sound of Bovril. I see what you're saying there. I used to hate coffee. Used to when I was younger, I hated even the
Same.
smell, but now I drink so much of it. It's ridiculous.
Oh, I love coffee now. Yeah, I know.
It's the only thing that keeps me going during the day. I need it for energy, for the caffeine boost.
Absolutely, I'm addicted to this stuff. Mountain Dew. It's like the holy grail.
Where'd you get
for
that
me.
from? I thought it was banned in the UK, or have they changed it? It used to have too much sugar, that drink, and they didn't allow it in the UK. Maybe they've changed it now.
Well, there's sugar tax now, ain't they? So you can have it, but you've got to pay a fortune for it in sugar tax. So I'll pay the fortune.
So James Alton, good to see you. James has said, what is your favourite style of dance, and will this influence your judging on the show?
So we're talking, now that's entertainment. So James is part of Now That's Entertainment. Favourite style of dance? I have to... that's a hard one, because obviously
Does the Macarena... Does that count?
I mean,
that's my favourite. If anyone's curious,
only when you do it. Only when you do it.
I do it well. I do it well.
So the thing is, street dance. I'm a street dancer, and street dance isn't a style. Well, it sort of is, but it's sort of an umbrella. So there are lots of styles under this umbrella. There is break dance, which is the acrobatics, the movement of the floor. There's b-boying. There's commercial hip hop, popping, which is like a robotic kind of style of dance, waving, which is all this kind of stuff that you see people trying to... There are so many umbrellas under street dance. So when it comes to style, I love all those styles, all those hip-hop styles. And I don't really have a favorite. But then I also appreciate a good tap dancer. I also appreciate a good ballet dancer. I love all dance. I think it's more I appreciate the dancer and how hard they're working than an actual style. And I think for the show and for when I'm judging, the style is irrelevant to me. If I can see that you're somebody that loves it and you worked hard and you're really grafting in that style, then style shouldn't really influence my decision. Like, I'm not going to put a hip-hop dancer before a ballet dancer because I like hip-hop music. That's not going to happen. You got to judge fairly. So for me, it's all about the dancer rather than the style of dance.
Mm-hmm. Good answer. The passion. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing this show now. It's very exciting. Someone says, so Phoebe, the lovely Phoebe, has said, has mentioned Ant and Dec. So let me.
Yes.
I'm just curious. Do you have any interesting stories like behind the scenes of BGT that we don't know about? Anything, any gossip that you can tell us about?
Not really, no.
We did a show. I remember about 4 years. No, it couldn't have been 4 years ago. That's when I was on the show. Maybe. Could only have been maybe 3 years ago. When we went up to Liverpool and I met you. That was probably the first time I met you properly.
Yeah.
And we did a show together. I remember it was carnage because they had all the winners from BGT plus more, and it was supposed to be an hour and a half show, and I think it ran over and was about 4 hours long in the end. But that was carnage. But I mean, if you got any interesting stories behind the scenes.
Not with Ant and Dec. They. I mean, and you'll know this, and it's the same with the judges. You very much film and stuff, and then as soon as they say, right, we've got that, it's like boom, everybody vanishes back to their dressing rooms. It's like it's so hard to catch up with anybody. There isn't an act because we're all put in a certain area together where the dressing rooms are. So I remember being like 14 after I won the show, and Ant gave me his number. Because he thought I was really cool. He gave me his number and said, look, when the tour comes to Newcastle, give me a text and we'll come and watch it in Newcastle. Which at the time I thought was really cool. And it is cool. It is sort of cool, but I never text him. I never did. I never did.
Call him late at night just to see if he answers.
No. But they did. They came to watch the tour in Newcastle and stuff, and they came to the hotel where we were all staying and had a drink and stuff like that. So that was, that was really nice. They didn't have to do that. And they're invested in the show, as much as the acts are. It's their baby as well. But no secret backstage hints. Other than actually, I remember we did the Britain's Got Talent tour, and it wasn't the year I won; it was the year Diversity won, the year after me. But I came back for the tour, and I remember we were doing like a dance warm up, and I had all the dance acts in the show, myself, Diversity, Flawless, and a couple of us were on stage warming up pre-show, and I had my phone plugged into the auxiliary. And it was on shuffle. Oh, it was a disaster. And we were doing a warm up, and I think a Phil Collins song came on. Nice. It was Two Hearts by Phil Collins, and because it was next to a song that I had saved as Pink Floyd, Another Brick in the Wall, which was the dance that I was doing on the tour. And so Phil Collins came next, Two Hearts, and they ended up it became a running joke that the warm up we had to warm up to Two Hearts by Phil Collins, and Stephen Mulhern would come on and dance with us on the stage to Two Hearts, and then it became his walk-on song for the start of the tour. Stephen Mulhern would always walk on to Phil Collins and Two Hearts, and now I can't hear that song without having slight PTSD.
Awesome. Someone said, the lovely Rosemary said, "Is there anything you would have done differently?" We'll broaden it out to the whole of your. Yeah, I suppose everyone would change stuff. What
everyone, realistically, in hindsight, yeah, of course, I'd change a lot of things. I'd love to know what it would be like to win now as an adult with this Instagram influence era and all this kind of stuff. I always wondered, would I have had as much success, or was the majority of me winning the success based on purely that I was a child? And I believe a lot of it was. And so I don't want to change the fact that I won it as a child, but I do think it'd be interesting to know what it'd be like to win as an adult and doing whatever. And I don't know. I don't know how that would go. I don't know. You've done it.
Well, I suppose
that's the only thing.
There's limits on what you can do. Obviously, when you won the show, there's probably a limit. Was you limited to how much performing you could do around school and stuff?
Yeah, I always needed chaperones everywhere I went, and my school, luckily my high school, Bertrand High School that I went, were really good. They were so good with, George needs a week off for this, he's going on tour, he needs a month off, we'll just catch up with the hours and stuff. My attendance was poor, really poor. And I still see some of my teachers like in the shopping centres and stuff when I'm out shopping and stuff, and we always have a joke about it, but they were really good to me. But it was difficult trying to manage it as a 13 and 14-year-old child. So, the one thing I do wonder is if I was an adult, what would it be like to win the show?
Whereabouts are you located in the UK?
Warrington. I'm in the northwest. I'm planted right between Liverpool and Manchester.
Have you always been there then? You're still.
Yep.
Yeah.
Since I was a young man. Yeah.
So the Lucy says age is just a number. You've got raw talent. Absolutely.
I agree. Age is just a number. I think if you want something hard enough, you can do it. Obviously, we're physically limited to what we can do as children, but I don't see why age should have any sort of benefiting factor to anything.
I've got a good question for you now from the Mandy, lovely Mandy. Says, would you ever think about doing dancing on ice? You know what? I was going to say you would be amazing on Dancing on Ice. I was going to bring that up.
I watched a show in the theatre once called Summer Holiday, and a young chap in the show, the star of the show, was Ray Quinn, who won the first series of Dancing on Ice. And he sort of goes back every year because he's like this skating wizard now. And me and him we're quite close. We've become quite friends. He's a Scouse lad, and so he's not far from me. And we generally got on. And he was saying to me, look, I'd love to take you on the ice and teach you. And you could be the first celebrity to do the backflip on the ice. And there were all these talks. And for a while, I bought into it. And I was like, I could do that. I could do Dancing on the Ice. And I would be the first to do a backflip. But Perry's done it now. Perry did it, and he did the backflip.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he didn't land it, though.
You, Perry.
So
he didn't? All right, well, you'll be the first to nail it then.
He landed it, but not very cleanly. So there are other things. But of course, I would do it. The problem is with those shows and with any sort of big show is there's so many people, so many celebrities, so many people that are out there for them to pick from. And they always have like a style, like a lineup. And there's always sort of a young man on it who they bring on it for the young females, or there's always like a certain there's always a politician, there's always a newsreader, there's always a radio, you know what I mean? They have like a cast, and the dog scratching at my door, and I fit into that small bracket of the young gentlemen that they have on, and unfortunately that bracket is just so wide. You think about all the soap stars and all the TV dramas that are on now that have got men in their 20s, like it's so hard to get into it. I think I'd be good on it. Obviously my dance background would help me. But I actually met for it once. I think it was the year Beth Tweddle, the gymnast, she did it that year, and they asked me to do it. And I was sort of brought in as a backup because somebody was dropped out for whatever reason. And then me and Beth Tweddle were brought in, and we were training and we were learning. And then I had to get, I think, like 4 days off the panto that I was in, and they wouldn't give me the 4 days off. The panto were like, no. Which at the time seemed so bizarre because I was like, oh, this is massive advertising for the panto if I'm on Dancing on that. Like,
yeah.
but they were so deep into rehearsals and it was so last minute. They were like, we can't let you out for 4 days because we're ready to tech and stuff. So I never got it off. I never did it. But
everyone's saying they'd love to see you on it. Everyone's commenting right now saying they'd love to see you on it. So
I'd definitely do it.
I don't think anyone would ever turn it down if anyone gets approached by Dancing on Ice. Do good.
There are shows I'd have to consider there, but there are a few that I would say yes to, like that, and Dancing on Ice is one of them. The Jungle, obviously, that's the biggest.
Well, the Jungle's but also now in Wales. I don't know what's scary about spending a week in Wales.
Oh, you've obviously not.
I haven't watched it. To be fair. No, I've not watched it. But,
it's cold and wet.
yeah. To be fair, but I'm used to that being in the army. I've been to Wales many times. I don't think they can make it scarier than what the army do.
That's why they've not put you in.
That's a big game changer. Say again.
That's why they've not asked you to do it because you'd laugh at it.
You wouldn't see me. I'll be all camoed up, like crawling around the bloody jungle. Yeah, I would love to do that though. That's anything like that. It's a big career booster, like because it re-highlights kind of what you do, and it means obviously I'd love for more people to know about my shows and stuff. That'd be a big
yeah, but not only that, like you're a good guy, and the people watching will know this. Like you're a good guy, and I think what those shows do is they're so reality driven that they highlight if you're a good guy. They, people, the public see that you're a good guy, and it's as much as it is. Obviously, it gives you publicity. It also wakes people up to who like you as a person. And I've always felt that I've never really had that. I've always sort of everything I've done, I've been judged by performance and never on who I was as a person. Because I haven't done much reality TV at all. I haven't really dabbled in it. I think I did Celebrity Coach Trip for a week, and that's it. That's all I've ever done. Other than shows where I'm required to perform, it's always been acting. So when people see you, they're like, "Oh, you're the kid that danced in the rain," or "You're the kid that killed Mr. Clarkson on Waterloo Road," or "You're the kid that played this character. I loved that character. I loved this. I didn't like this." And they're always judging you based off something they've seen you portray, whether it's a character or a performance. And I feel like shows like that, they go, "Oh, you were on The Jungle. You were such a cool dude." It opens you up as a personality. And so I think that's why I would like to do those kind of shows, just because,
But also, like you said before, I think that kind of limits like normal people. Like I consider us quite normal. I think it limits us to a certain extent because a lot of these shows want the people who are going to cause a lot of drama and going to be shouting at each other, and they want people who aren't necessarily going to cope very well from being away from home and mingling with other people. Tim has put an interesting comment there. He says, "Just don't do Love Island." I assume this comment's for me. Your boss will put you in the doghouse. Yeah, I think we'd get a lot of stick if we went on a show like.
You know what? I actually got asked to do. I got asked to do Celebs Go Dating, and like Celebrity First Dates. I've been asked to do those shows multiple times. But what's genuine? Those shows are very genuine. When they say they're looking for single people, they are, because I've always replied and said no. Like I'm in a relationship. I'm very happy, and they usually reply and say, "Okay, that's fine. Then we don't want you. We want to find somebody that's generally looking." Like their mission is to get people to find love, and it's the same with Love Island and stuff like that. So I wouldn't do them anyway because, I'm not looking for that kind of thing. I'm very happy with Kaz, my girlfriend. But a lot of people go onto those shows and just lie, just take my money and say no, I haven't got a girlfriend when they have. But you always get found out in the end, and I personally, not for me. No.
Yeah. No. Interesting story. Many years ago. I had the people were pitching me for all different types of shows. My manager at the time pitched me for, I think it must have been Celebs Go Dating, or it was either that or Dinner Dates. And I always remember that I'd never seen the show before, and I'd got a call from my manager at the time, and he said, "Look, I've just set up this meeting. It could be a good TV spot for people, for well, like you said, for people to see who you are in a bit more airtime. So I thought, okay. So I remember I got on the train that same day, went down there, and I always remember on the train looking up on YouTube to make sure that I understood what the show was like, just so I could chat about it. And I watched a load of these videos. Got to the place, had a chat with a guy that was obviously the senior producer, and he asked me, he said, "Oh, so do you watch the show?" And I tried blagging like, "Yeah, I love the show," and started streaming off about all the videos that I just watched. I was like, "Oh yeah, I love the episode with this, and this."
Yeah.
It turned out I was watching the wrong show, so I think it was Celeb Dating, but I'd been watching Dinner Dates on the way there. So I got into the room and I say, I really love the show. And I started talking about the things that I liked about the episode that I just watched on the show, on the train. And he looked at me, laughed and said, that's not the show you're here to talk about. And it was so embarrassing.
No.
It was an absolute nightmare.
That's a stinker.
So I didn't get that gig. Yeah, I didn't.
No, I'm not surprised.
If anything, it was a huge insult to the guy.
Do you know what?
Although
it is what it is.
He was a nice bloke, though. It was a Monday morning, and he'd just got back that same morning from a heavy weekend in Ibiza. So I think he didn't really care what was going on that day.
Yeah, he was forgiving. He didn't care.
Richard's got a good question here. He says, the tattoos you got, do you have a story behind them?
I have contrasting tattoos. I have an arm. My left arm is sort of my serious arm, and then here I have this. I have a Great Britain flag and a backdrop of London City within a face, and there's an old bloke here by a lamppost, and I want this. This is cool. It's sort of like a reflection of me when I'm older, looking back on all the things I've done and stood by a lamp. I don't know. Anyway, and then you can't really see this one, but I've got a cadence piece here. There's like a theatre. It sort of represents all the work I've done. There's theatres, there's film stuff.
And this is sort of my arm. I like that. That's cool.
Yeah, so this art and this dice and stuff, and that's sort of dedicated to what I do and the gamble of everything we do and putting up, wearing your heart on your sleeve type stuff. And then my other arm is completely utter nonsense. So I have Deadpool here.
Nice.
I have Deadpool there. Yeah. I have Dragon Balls. I have Goku from Dragon Ball Z on my forearm. You can't really see it. And then I've got a Fortnite character up here. He's a skin off Fortnite.
Nice.
And then what else do I have? I have a big K. I've not actually said this ever. Nobody knows this. I've never said this. My girlfriend is gonna absolutely come. I've got a big K on my toe. On my big toe, I have a huge K. That stands for Casmin, who's my lovely girlfriend, and I basically one day joked about doing it, and she was like, "That's ridiculous, never do it," and I was like, I'm gonna do it. So when I got my
story behind it being on your big toe, is there an extra meaning?
I just wanted it. No. It was just somewhere that no one's ever gonna see it but her. So where more appropriate than on it? Because you see these things about guys getting like their bums tattooed and stuff. I just no. So I made a joke about getting like a K on my toe, and she was like, "No, that's ridiculous." And I don't know. I'm quite spontaneous, so I got it done. I also have one on my lips, here. Me and the boys. Inside? Yeah. It's faded away now. It's really faded. But me and the boys, we have this little thing we say, "Be seeing you," and it's just become a bit of a phrase that we say. I have a private plate that's "Be seeing you," and like I have BSU tattooed across my lips here. But it's faded because the day I got it done, me and the tattooist, my friend Ryan, he's unbelievable. We went out and got drunk that night and did shots of tequila, so all the alcohol just completely completely dissolved the ink, and I've got like a half of a B and a no S and a U, but I'll probably get it redone. I don't know. I'm not too fragile when it comes to tattoos and stuff. They are meaningful, and like the Goku here and the Deadpool and the Fortnite, these are all things that I've grown up on. I used to be the biggest Dragon Ball Z fan as a kid. I used to watch it religiously. I'm a huge Marvel nerd. Fortnite is the game that I play when I'm streaming. If it's not COD, it's Fortnite. Like they're all things that mean something to me outside of what I do professionally. My sort of come down time away from everything is is all this kind of stuff, and then this arm is dedicated to my work and the serious kind of arm. But I'm not going to go too mad. I'm not going to get face or neck or any of that nonsense. Just sleeves, and then I'm quite content with that.
Yeah,
Let me tell.
sleeves are very cool. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Loella said she loves the tattoos. Now Loella's got a cool tattoo of. So it's a lovely. So my motto that whenever I sign anything on my magic sets and posters and stuff, I always put the motto "Always believe in the impossible," which is kind of a
Absolutely,
something
such a magician's thing to say.
Yeah, it is. But it means more like in life in general. It doesn't matter if it seems impossible. Everything was impossible once until we kind of figured a way out to do it.
Someone did it. Yeah.
But the lovely Loella ended up crafting an amazing tattoo with that slogan, and it's got a heart in the middle, and it says "Always believe in the impossible." And she
awesome.
got a tattoo, which I can't remember where it is. I think it's on her arm. I'm not sure. Let us know, Loella, in the comments. But it's really cool.
That's awesome,
it made my day when I saw that.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's cool. I mean,
the only way I can top that is if George Sampson tonight agrees to put a big R on his other big toe. That's the
don't dare me, because I'm very capable of getting it done. But unfortunately, I can't get any more tattoos. I've missed 2 bookings now because of the pandemic and stuff. So I'm now overdue to 2 bookings, and my we'll come back to them, and I will get them done eventually. But yeah, I've had a whole year of not getting tattoos now, and they all sort of happened very quickly. I was kind of like a guy with no tattoos, and then all of a sudden was the guy with tattoos. So it happened very quickly. And then I've had a year off not being able to get them, so I'm looking forward to getting back in the studio and getting covered. Yeah,
wicked. Surely it must have been painful. The lip one though, right? Was that the most
painful? No, that didn't hurt at all. Couldn't feel it. It just bled a lot because it's the gums. But that one I didn't feel at all. The worst one was the toe. Oh, never again. Like some of these pieces were like 11-hour sessions, big sessions, because I have to travel all the way to Skegness to go for the tattoos. So I get there early doors, and we do big sessions every time. I think the littlest one we did 6 hours. That's the littlest I've done. And I would rather sit through 11 hours than do just the one toe again, because that was awful. Awful.
You must
no muscle.
In my head, though, I'm picturing getting a tattoo very similar to when you're getting your haircut. When you go to most barbers, you kind of end up talking about the same thing every time. Like, what have you been up to? Weather's nice. That kind of thing. I can't imagine 7 hours of that conversation.
7 hours of small talk. Well, again, it all depends on who's doing your tattoo, really. I mean, Ryan that does mine, he's quite lucky. He's a very good friend of mine. I actually met him in the airport in Florida. We were on a holiday. They were on holiday. And we just met in the airport, and he come over and he said, my girlfriend's a dancer. Her friend is a big fan. Can you record a video for us? Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, of course. Yeah, did it. And then he said to me, he was like, look, mate, if you're ever in Skegness and you want a tattoo done, I'll do your first one for free if you dance at our wedding. And I held him to it. I danced at the party of his wedding, and he gave me my first tattoo for free. So
nice.
That's how it all came about. And then he did such a good job that ever since I was like, right, well, I'm coming back, mate. I'm coming back. And we just sort of became friends, like from that first meeting in the airport and me dancing at his wedding.
Well, it's lucky he was a decent tattoo artist. I have seen some crazy tattoos in the past, but it's important to see what kind of skills you got first, right?
Absolutely,
it's not coming off.
Of course, I gave him. I did the reconnaissance. He was here. I knew he could tattoo before I went there, but he is very good. Look at he's very good.
Yeah, they are epic tattoos. They're really cool. Colin's asked a cool question here. He says, have you ever thought about combining dance with a magic trick? George, I might need to take you up on this. At some point, I might need you to teach me some epic street dance.
Do you know what? I actually did. I did a show for BBC. I did The Magicians. It was a couple of years back, and I was linked. I was teamed up with a magician, a guy called Jason Latimer, who's an amazing magician, really good magician, and we linked. So he has this whole trick with water. He creates balls from water, and he makes them vanish and stuff like that. It's his whole illusion. He's illusionist and does all these acts and stuff. Yeah, very cool. And so I was put with him, and he taught me some tricks. We teleported people from trucks. He taught me some sleight of hand, changing leaflets into money. And we did a whole trick with a ring and the audience, and a ring going missing. But it was this whole time of like 2 months where I was just working with Jason and his guy. He had a guy called Gadget who creates all these illusions for him. And it was incredible, like incredible. And the way we linked the dance was the rain, because he had this water ball trick that he would splat into water, and people had to get these balls coming out of the water and stuff, and singing in the rain, and it was like a natural link. So it can work. It really can work. It really can.
So were you doing the illusions as well? Did you get involved?
Yeah, yeah. So he had to teach me how it was all done, and then we do them together. And then just for fun, they played Singing in the Rain, and we both turned balls into water, and it started raining and stuff. So it was cool. Yeah, it was cool, man.
So you're kind of like, you must be a secret honorary member of the Magic Circle then. I should have to sign some sort of an agreement to make sure you never reveal the secrets.
I did, and especially the water one, because that was his big illusion, and no one knew how he did it and stuff. And so I did, yeah. And then after that, I went round conventions with him for like a year and a half, just enjoying it, loving it, and him teaching me new tricks and stuff. And of course, Stephen Mulhern as well, who does a lot of magic. When we would tour back in the day, he would come round on the tour bus with us to all these cities and stuff. So he would teach me magic on tour. And I still remember a lot of the card tricks and stuff. My sleight of hand isn't great, but I remember how they're done. And I think with practice, I could probably get them, do the same tricks again. But I love magic, man. I love magic. I love getting lost in the idea of just this world where anything can happen. And dance and magic can be linked and should be linked, because they're both great.
All right, I've got a question for you.
Come on. Yes, come on, do something. Yes.
Here we go. All right, George, here we go. Let's test your ability.
Okay.
Name any card.
4 of clubs.
4 of clubs?
Yeah.
Is absolutely correct. Congratulations. He nailed it. This guy is a miracle, ladies and gents. I have no idea how he knew that. That has blown my mind. Good work, George. We definitely need to work together. That is a fact.
Yeah. Right. I agree. Awesome. I agree, man.
Right, I reckon we'll end with maybe 2 more. Well, I reckon we've got one more question I'll get up from the comments, and then I've got one question that I'm going to ask you to finish on, a kind of a top tip question. So we are going to. A lot of people are clapping. They're giving you an applause on that. They don't know how you did it. It must be some sort of trick card magic. Or something like that. No, I've got no idea.
It's magic, believe it.
Right, so. So Samantha says that could be a lockdown challenge for you to learn. Yeah, pick your skills on your magic scene back up. It's a good shout. Yep. Right. Well, I'm gonna bring in my big question. Okay. So I've had a few people on the show in the last few weeks. Some of those people have been BGT people as well. And something I've decided that I should be doing every week, because a lot of my followers, and no doubt a lot of your followers, are big fans of shows like BGT and X Factor and stuff like that. Yeah. So I reckon the big question to finish on tonight should be, if you could give your 3 top tips for anyone who would be auditioning. Say someone here is going to audition next year, because this year is canned. Right. Next year they're going for the audition. What would be your top 3 tips for anyone going for that show, or anyone going for Now That's Entertainment? That's a good point, because that is on this year. Of course.
Yes. So my 3 top tips. I think the first one is kind of touching on what we spoke about earlier. It's all about your ability. It's not about whether you're good enough for the show. Don't go into the show questioning whether you're good enough for the show. Go into the show, whatever show it is, believing in what you do, believing in your own ability. Because if you believe in your own ability, you can only give your best. And if your best is enough, then your best is enough. If it's not, then it might not be the right time. There are so many different things it could be. But for me, don't go into the show with an idea of winning the show, and don't go into the show questioning whether you're good enough for the show. Go in with your head strong, believing in what you can do, and then that way you will give your best. Because as soon as there are doubts, there's even just a little, the little tiniest doubt can separate a great performance from your best performance. And you don't want to go in with a great performance. You want to go in with your best. So that'd be the first tip. I think the second tip, I think familiarize yourself as much as you can. I think for a lot of people, standing on a big stage in front of a lot of people and the judges can be quite daunting. For a lot of people, especially this year, because of lockdown, they've harnessed their skills at home. in front of their computers or in their garden. Try and familiarize yourself on that stage with your own surrounding as much as you can. A lot of old singing teachers that I used to work with back in the day used to say, picture everybody naked. And I'm not saying that that's your familiar scene.
We all do that anyway,
yeah. You know what I mean? But try and set aside what's happening in front of you and just try and relax that and focus on what's happening when it was me, is what's happening down below with my legs and my feet, and making sure that I'm doing the right thing, and try not to get captured in the essence of what's going on in front of you. Even the smallest thing. I remember doing the audition, and it was like halfway through the audition, everyone started cheering and getting into it. And I remember getting quite gassed during like my routine, but actually that probably put me off for a slight second. So it was like trying to not focus on too much about what's going on out there. You can always, the reaction you'll get afterwards. Don't worry about how people are reacting. Just focus on the audition. Make sure, and my third tip was, make sure you know your stuff. Make sure you know what you're doing. And not Britain's Got Talent as such, but I've gone for auditions for musicals and big films, Disney films that I auditioned for, and I've turned up and I've thought, I've learned lyrics to a song perhaps, and then I've got there and the heat of the moment has just dragged me back, and all of a sudden those lyrics that I thought I knew, gone. And so really know your stuff before you go. Make sure whatever routine you're doing, whether it's a trick or it's a dance or whether it's a song, know what you're doing. Do it 100 times so that you're not going to fail what you do, because it's such a shame. It's such a shame for me when I see people that are good dancers or good singers, and you hear them and they start and they're blowing it away, and then all of a sudden it goes wrong for them. There's nothing worse. There's absolutely nothing worse. So make sure you know your and you'll know the same thing. Like if getting a trick wrong or it not getting the answer you want. Like there's nothing worse, and it's how you battle that. And so I think my third tip is make sure you know what you're doing. Go over it. There's not enough time. You can't go over it enough times. Just keep drilling.
Absolutely, love it. If you can't do it perfectly in rehearsal, you'll never do it perfectly when you're under the pressure.
Yeah,
so true.
Absolutely,
love it. Awesome. Well, George, I just want to say on behalf of everyone, thanks so much for joining us. I really do appreciate it. I know you're a busy guy, and I'm so sorry we couldn't make it work last time. But it has made my day that I've had you on tonight. Literally, I've been looking forward to this for ages now. So,
me too.
Thanks for all the inspiring words as well. Hopefully, everyone out there, they're all putting love hearts now. I can see they're showing their appreciation. It means a lot. Let's give you a round of applause. Here we go with my cue. There he is. Thank you very much. So, hopefully we'll see you again soon. We're looking forward to seeing you, obviously, on Amazon Prime in a few months.
Yes.
Just before we go, I just want to say, for anyone who wants to check out your stuff, George, what is your YouTube handle?
That's a good question. I think it's just George Sampson. I think it is just George Sampson.
And he's got a lot of cool vlogs and stuff on there. I've been checking them out. Yeah. You've got some awesome cars as well. I love the videos you in your car.
Oh, I love cars. I love cars. I sort of keep the YouTube stuff to vlog stuff outside of performing and stuff. So it's a nice little insight to what goes on outside of it all. Yeah.
And what nights do you go live on your Twitch with your Call of Duty stuff?
I'm not even going to say because I'm so embarrassing when it comes to schedule and consistency. But obviously, if people are following Facebook or Instagram, they'll be notified and stuff. So just keep up to date with socials. It's the best way to do it. And I'll try my best to keep up to date with socials.
Awesome. I'll make sure I add George's YouTube and also his Twitter and all the other stuff in the top just after we finish this live. So thank you very much, George. We appreciate it. Let's find a cool outro track. Thank you very much to everyone who joined us tonight. We really appreciate it. We love the questions, and I love the fact that everyone asked such lovely things, and we didn't get any trolls or any spammers tonight. Every now and again, George, we do get someone trying to advertise their dodgy deal that you have to pay £5,000 for, and luckily we didn't get that tonight, which was good. So epic. Thanks everyone. Thanks, George. Catch you again soon. Epic tune to finish on. There we go.